So the first knuckle bends about 90 degrees when you make a fist. But the next knuckle in doesn't bend. It bends, well, I guess it bends quite a bit. It bends a little over 90 degrees actually. But that end knuckle, the last knuckle on the finger, doesn't bend but maybe 70 degrees at the most. So let's try to simulate that. So we've got the about 90 degrees on that first knuckle. So a little over 90 on that second knuckle. And then on the last knuckle, you get a little less. Okay, we're going to do that for each finger. Okay. So we'll select those. I'm actually going to deselect the SDK5 on the finger because it's not necessary. I shouldn't have ever even created it. But we'll rotate that about 90 degrees. Rotate the next one in a little more than 90, and the SDK4 a little less than 90. Okay, then we do the same thing for the pinky and the ring finger. Now when we're doing this, you're going to want to make sure that you're doing your selection from the set driven key window. If you click on the bones in here, remember we have two identical bones laying on top of each other. You'll get the joint that you don't want to if you select here in the perspective view. Okay, so we set that. Now let's go back to the pinky. We'll set it. Roughly 90 degrees on the first joint. The next one in a little bit more. Next one in. It's actually about 90 degrees still. So we'll unrotate it just a tiny bit. Okay. Now, our fingers also come together when we make a fist. So we need to do that. Use that rotate Y, or the rotate. Okay, give me a second. We need to rotate them in. So we'll do that with our metacarpals. So that's the SDK1 for each of the fingers. Okay. So grab that. I'm going to rotate it in Y just a touch. The middle finger doesn't really move. The index finger doesn't seem to move, as far as spreading, doesn't seem to move in or out. Maybe it's just the pinky that comes in a little bit. Okay. But we do need to use the rotate X, it looks like, a little bit. So we're going to use rotate X just a touch. Kind of pull that fist in more tight. And we'll do the same on each of these metacarpals that need it. So basically just study your fist a lot and see what it takes to make a fist. Okay. Now, also when you make a fist, your pinky kind of rotates down from the metacarpal, and your ring finger does just a tiny bit. So we need to move these down at the metacarpal. And the same on the ring. Pinky will do it a little bit more. Okay, now just to make sure we don't lose all this work, I'm going to, I'm going to lose it all. Okay, that's really lame. But what I did is I forgot to set my fist to 10, so that when I set all these set-driven keys, it actually goes to the fist location. But now I'm going to have to set it at 0 so I don't lose all this work, and then I'll go and readjust in the graph editor these values so that it actually works according to the -1, 0, and 10 set-driven keys. Okay, so I'm going to select everything and key it, and I guess we'll have to pick up back on that on Wednesday since class is over.